Look, the United States faced difficult decisions in the aftermath of the Israeli actions. We chose the path of acting, in this case, to do a intense but idealistically or optimally narrow military strike against Iran. What's so interesting to me, if I had to say one thing at this point, if you think about this crisis over the last 10 or so days, the first week was dominated by Israel. It deciding in the aftermath of October 7th, the weakening of Iran's proxies, it was going to act against the Iranian nuclear program and more broadly against the Iranian political leadership. Then the United States decided this was the moment to set back the Iranian nuclear program. But now initiative has passed to Iran. For the first time in this crisis, it's the Iranian leaders who control, as much as anybody, how this unfolds from this point on. And that's what's different. If I were writing today, indeed I will be writing later today,
right.
That's what's different. Is for the first time since this phase of the crisis began, decision-making, if you will, is in the hands of Iran more than Israel, more than the United States.
Ambassador Haass, and I want to make clear here that Richard Haass redefined the international relations debate with the invention of the internet at the Council on Foreign Relations. John Bellinger at CFR, Richard Haass, writes a blistering essay with his legal expertise. Does President Trump have the authority to strike Iran? From where you sit with all your work back to Northern Ireland, did the president have the ability to act from the executive branch, or did he need to use a different process with Congress?
And the president had the authority, like all of his predecessors. If you look at the history of a modern American foreign policy, initiative in foreign policy has decidedly passed to the executive. I mean, Tom, what was it, 60 years ago, Arthur Schlesinger Jr. wrote his essay and book about the imperial presidency. This is nothing new. You know, Congress virtually never, ever fulfills its constitutional obligation to declare war. And we have used military force hundreds of times in the absence of anything so formal. So I just, flat out disagree with that kind of a narrow legalist interpretation. That said, if I had been advising President Trump, I would have said, take a page out of the book of President Bush the father, Bush 41. Do things with the internationally, with building on the International Atomic Energy Agency's scathing report of Iran. Do things with the Congress. Do things with the American public. If you're going to use military force, people should come to conclude that you tried to do diplomacy, and at the end of the day, you reluctantly had to use it. It also, by the way, would have helped this president with his MAGA base. So I think he should have gone about this differently. But did he, under American political tradition, did he possess the authority to do what he did? Absolutely.
Richard, as the world awaits some type of response from Iran, do we have any good information as to their capabilities today, from just their military capabilities and to their leadership, because Israel has dealt a blow to their leadership? What should we expect?
No, they're both good points. I actually think they're unlikely to retaliate. My reading of the Iranians is they're focused on regime survival. In some ways, this is the second great difficult period, crisis for Iran's leadership since their 1979 revolution, the first one being a decade later during the Iran-Iraq War. So my guess is they're going to focus on regime consolidation. Down the road, they may focus on reconstituting their nuclear program. We have no idea how much of their nuclear program is intact. But I think it is difficult for the Iranian leadership to act. They're trying to stay off the net because they don't want to give signals for Americans or Israelis to target them. They obviously have lost control over the airspace of their own country. Their proxies are much diminished. So I don't think they have very good options. That said, they can still lob missiles at the 40,000 American soldiers in the region. They can play havoc with shipping. It doesn't take a lot to drive insurance rates up. They can do asymmetrical warfare using cyber or terrorism. So they actually have lots of capabilities. You don't have to compete with B-2 stealth fighters in order to be militarily effective. But I just think if the Iranians right now, their priority in the short run is not to retaliate against the United States.